Today we'll be creating the mapping data flows. That is, we'll be knowing the concept. What is mapping data flows? It is very essential as a data engineer to know the concept. We'll be implementing the entire architecture just like my previous videos or tutorials if you're following along with me from the scratch. But first let's us know some basics of what are mapping data flows. So mapping data flows is a kind of visual representation of data transformations. So data transformations can be any kind of like filter, sort, those kind of things. We do not know what kind of code is have going on behind the scenes, but we are just focused on the visual representation. That is, it's a kind of graphical representation or visual representation. If you're into familiar about ab initio, we have graphs, those kind of things we do here. Second point that brings us to the second point, that is without writing a code. As mentioned in point number 1, we won't be writing a single line of code. Everything Data Factory will do for us behind the scenes. Third important thing is to note that Apache Spark clusters will be running behind the scenes, whatever activities will be carrying out. Regarding data lineage, I'll be showing you in the tutorial itself, hands-on tutorial, what we will be able to see there. So this is the architecture diagram. So first, if you look at the first step, we need a source file, right? So just treat source file is in the landing location. We'll be cleansing the data, then putting it into the staging location. Target file, treat it as a staging location. So now let's open our console. We have the storage accounts in place. Let's click storage account. We'll be creating the storage account straight from the scratch so that even a beginner can follow along with me. So let's name our storage account. So Cloud Guru Amit Storage EDF Azure Data Factory. So next we need to choose a region. US East, US looks good. Now there's a new primary service, which also popped up recently. So here we can select what type of workloads we need, what you're using. So Azure will suggest depending upon big data workloads or Hadoop, those kind of things. Since it's not mandatory, we don't need now. Performance, again, standard looks good. Now for redundancy, let's choose LRS. Now we can directly move to review and create. Our validation passed. Let's click on create button and wait for our storage accounts get created. Alright, our deployment is success. Let's go to the resource. So your question might be, why do we need this storage account? If you look at the architecture diagram, we need the source file, that is our staging, or the landing location is our source. It needs to be contained in a especially in a storage account inside a container, right? So we'll be creating two containers, one for the source file, that is our landing location, and target for the staging. So let's create two containers now. We'll go to data storage, containers. Let's click on container. Let's name our container. So we'll be naming as landing. This is our source location where our file will be, a source file will put. Let's open it. Let's upload our file. So the file is on my local computer currently, the company file. The file will be available for diamond members and above, including the PDF, so that you can practice this hands-on. So now let's browse this file using the portal. Let's browse for the file and select it as a source. Alright, we got our company file from our local computer. Let's double click it. Next we'll click on the upload. So our source file is now ready. It is, please note, it's a .csv file, right? Now let's go back one step. So this is our landing, this is our source. Let's create another container for our output or the sync, whatever you can say, or the destination staging. So here our output file will be landing. Our output file will also be can also be a .csv as per the architecture diagram. Our output file, if you look, is CSV format. So now our source file is in place. Now let's move to the Azure Data Factory part. Since Azure Data Factory is not ready, let me duplicate this tab. Let's open the landing part for now, CSV. Let's search Data Factory. Here we have the Data Factory. let's click on create data factory. We'll be setting the data factory again from the scratch, because like let's select the resource group, the same resource group we are putting. Now let's name our data factory. So this looks good. Now let's click on review and create. So let's click on the create button. Let's wait for a while our data factory gets ready. Alright, deployment completed. Let's go to the resource now. Now let's click on launch studio. It will take a while. Till then we'll dive into the architecture diagram where we are. So we have configured the source currently, that is our landing location. We have put our .csv file from our local computer, that is this one company file we have, and the data looks something like this. So there are some datas here. We need to do some ETL work now. Filter, sort, select, those kind of things we'll do now using data flow. So our data factory is ready. Now let's click on the author. Here we have the plus sign. Let's click on plus. Here if you look, we have the data flow. Let's click on data flow. So as soon as we click data flow, if you look the dotted line, it's we don't have much option. We can name the data flow. Let's name Cloud Guru Amit data flow. So this looks good. We have named it. Now let's click on the dotted add source one. If as soon as we create or click on this add source, so this thing gets activated. If you look, this was kind of dotted. Now this get activated. The colored thing now pops up. So we know in a data factory, before proceeding with any kind of data, we need to create one data set. We can name this source anything what we want. We'll keep as it is. Doesn't matter. Data set, it's clicked. Now if you look, we don't have any kind of data set, because I'm doing everything from the scratch so that you can easily understand what I do. So let's click on new data set. So we need to mention the source to data factory. Our source will be a blob storage. Why blob storage? Because the source file, if you remember, we have uploaded in our storage account in container named landing. So which is nothing but a Azure blob storage. So let's click on Azure blob. Let's click on continue, and now it's asking the format. If you remember, we have the .csv file here, right? So let's select .csv delimited. Let's click on continue. Now for link service, data factory needs to connect with our storage account, that is this one, Cloud Guru Amit storage account. So we need to create one link service. So now let's go all the way to the down. Let's select our storage account name. This was the storage account we created few moments back. Remember, Cloud Guru Amit storage ADF. Let's select it. Now let's click the bottom part, test connection. If the test connection is successful, it means ADF is able to connect to our source location or stabilize connection to source location, that is our landing container present in the storage account. It looks good. Let's click on if everything looks good, we can click on create now. All right, it says successfully created. So we got here the option to browse our path. Let's browse it. We know our source file is in the landing location. Let's click landing. Then we will select our file company.csv. Let's click on OK. We got our file name here. Let's click on OK. It's saving. So now it looks good. If you look here, right? We have many options like infer drifted column types. Like if data types frequently change, we use this drifted column types. But for this tutorial, we know everything is constant because data won't change here, right? Because we got our data already here and we are not changing it currently. So we don't need infer drifted column types and all. So now if you also want to skip some lines, you can also mention the line count from the data, input data, if you don't want that. Now as soon as we select, you can see 8 columns Azure Data Factory already detected. So our source file, if you look, contains 8 columns, right? If you count from A to H, it's 8. So ADF has done our homework. So it looks good. Now in the source option, let me give you overview of some of the important things. There are many options here, list of files, if no files are found, those kind of things. The most important thing, if you look here, is the projection. It's a kind of the DDL in SQL, what we say, what data types, what they are. If you closely observe this, the column names all are string by default. There are few options like let's say if I see the data, it's not string, right? It's kind of like integer or like short, those kind of things we can see. I can select it manually, right? Here we have list of options. I can do it manually. Otherwise, there is another option. Let's say in our project there are thousands of columns. At that time, we can't select it manually, right? We'll be doing some kind of mistakes. So in order to avoid such mistakes, let Data Factory do the homework for us. Like Data Factory will infer the schema or infer the DDL for us. How do we do it? If we look here, we have the data flow debug. We need to switch it on. Before switching on, just note one thing: detect data type is off or grayed out, right? Let me switch it on. Let me click OK. So it takes around like 3 to 5 minutes for this to activate. We'll wait for it till when it will success. You can see this moving icon. As soon as we'll activate, it will, the data type and all this will be activated, or like we'll be having these options. Let's wait for a while. All right, our data flow debug is now ready. We can click on the detect data type. It says detecting. It will take a while, around 30 seconds, to detect the data type. All right, behind the scenes, Data Factory has scanned all our data and provided us the correct data type or the DDL for all our columns. So it has successfully, if you look, it will match with the Excel. Founded and ID in short. If you look, ID, we don't have much value, so short data type will suffice. Same go for founded. It will fit in the short. Rest strings and a number of employees as well should be in short. See, we have. So Data Factory has done the homework and it's correct for us without requiring manual work. So now we have the optimize tab. If you are familiar about the partitioning, in most projects you won't be requiring current partitioning, but there are partitioning. Partitioning is nothing but dividing the data. There are various formats, famous formats, round robin, hash, this kind of things. You, as a data engineer, you might should be familiar about round robin, hash. These are two most important or like frequently used, and we can mention the number of partitions as well, like how we want to divide the data. So now for this tutorial, we'll use the current partitioning. We won't do any kind of thing. We have the inspect. So we have the column names, the order, how it is, and we have the data preview. So let's click on refresh. So best part of like enabling data flow debug is that we can now preview the data as per the stages. I'll show you once once it gets ready. In every stage we can preview the data, see, or we can view the data, what it looks like. Right, we have all the data here, 24 rows, right? If you look here, 24 rows, including like header we have. Apart from header, it's 24 values, 24 rows. So we got it. Now let's begin the transformations ETL work. We'll click on the plus button, and here there are a variety of ETL operations we can do, like select star. We have select star where we provide some conditions, or we can modify which columns we require, which we don't require, those kind of things. Rank on all, this might be familiar if you use SQL. Surrogate key, data engineer, as a data engineer you might be well known. Aggregate, some those things. There are many things here. Filter, these are some of the famous most used in data engineering. So let's begin one by one, right? Let's do some work. Let's click on select. Now as soon as I say click on select, just note one thing: the output stream name is select one. Select one is this one, that is our output stream. For input stream, if you look, incoming stream, this one, it says source one. Why source one? It says because if you look here, it's source one, right here, this one. Let me remove the cursor, source one. That's why like from where this like what is the input for this select one, it's source one. I hope you got the concept how it's. Now important parts is skip duplicate input columns and skip duplicate. So we don't want duplicate values in our input or output, so we'll skip it. We can use this. If you want duplicate, you can uncheck this, but for this tutorial we need this, right? Then we have the partitioning concept here. We can set the partition, we can use concurrent partitioning, right? So if you look here, optimize and select settings. Let me go back once again. Here if you look, we have let me put this one. Yeah, so if you look here, we have all the column names, right? Now let's say I don't want some specific column. Let's say I don't need country, and let's say I don't need let's say industry, country and industry. Let's remove it for the output. For the output file, we don't need country and industry. Let's go here. Country, we have the dustbin sign here. Let's remove it. Country is gone, and industry, let's remove it, right? So now we have successfully doing the transformations. We have dropped 2 columns, and we can preview the data once again. So country and, if you remember, industry should be dropped as the final output for this as per the transformation now, right? So we don't have see, country is vanished, and same goes for industry. We don't have industry column, so we are good. Now let's go ahead by doing some more transformation. Now let's use filter. So filter, same goes the logic. Incoming stream for filter, incoming stream is select one. Select one is this one, that is the input for filter, and the output is filter name. Looks good. Now let's mention some filter on condition. Let's view the data first. So let's like filter the data based on the records, like the company which were founded after 2000, year 2000. We will keep it, rest will discard, right? Let's go back. Let's click on open expression builder. In the expression builder, we need to select founded here. Let's give it space greater than 2000. So after year 2000, let's there is also one option to like data preview refresh, like it will show you what it looks like. All right, if you look at here, see, whatever founded companies founded after 2000, those values which are picked will be tick, right? Since 2000 is greater than since 2020 is greater than 2000, that is this one, that's why it will pass. 1971 is less than definitely 2000, hence it will get rejected. Same logic goes for all these things. Let's click on save and finish. We are good. So now if you look, the data preview here also we have the same thing as mentioned, where since we have enabled data flow debug, we can anytime enable and see the data, how our data is flowing or what data is getting captured. So as the last step, let's say if you look at the source file, everything is arranged in the ascending order of the ID. Now let's say for the output file, CSV file, I want it in the descending order. Let's click on sort here. We'll select the column where we want to sort. We'll be creating clicking ID. For ID, we want it descending order for our output file. So now it looks good. Let's select check the designer. So we'll it looks good descending, right? And here now we need to mention the sync or output. If you remember the sync, as per the architecture diagram, it is again in the storage account, and we have created a separate container for it, that is the staging. Currently it doesn't contain any data, it's empty because there are no output files. Let's go back here. Now we'll be creating one data set again. Click on new, because again we'll be creating click on blob, go to here, Next, what output format we want it in CSV, because as per the architecture diagram it's CSV file, right? CSV transformation to CSV transformation. If you want in any other format as per your project requirement, you can also select Parquet, Avro, JSON, whatever you want, but for this tutorial CSV is good. We'll be similarly creating one link service. Again, we want to, let's say, create another link service. Let's create it. So let's select our storage account, the same storage account where we have created our container. Let's click on test connection. So it's passed. Let's click on create. All right, our now let's browse our output location. It's staging, right? Let's select the staging. Let's click on continue. Let's click on OK. We are good. So our output is now defined. So our input, if you look here, is the landing location. Here it is input and our output is staging. Let me open it and let's, as a best practice, publish all the changes. If any kind of errors, it will throw. Otherwise, we are good to run this pipeline. We are done with this data flow. All right, published, completed. Now, if you note this thing, the data flow, if you look here, it won't run automatically, right? We need to create one pipeline. So let's begin by creating one pipeline. Let's click on plus pipeline. Now it's a simple process. In the activities, let's type data flow. Let's drag it here in the canvas, and here if you look, we have a couple of settings here. In the settings, we need to select our data flow name. Remember, we have created the Cloud Guru Amit. There's a typo. All right, Cloud Guru Amit data flow in the previous process here. That is Cloud Guru Amit. So we'll select this one, our data flow. Compute size. So how fast you want your Spark cluster like to process the data. So for our data, it's small because there are hardly any values, right? There are 24 rows in it. Small is suffice. If you want more power, there will be more cores to it, 16 cores. For small, it's by default 4, right? So this is sufficient for us, small. Now we don't need kind of parameters. So again, if you look, publish is there as a best practice. Let's publish the pipeline. Once it's published, we are good to run and do an end-to-end testing. So it's published. Now let's validate. Validation is passed. Now let's click on debug. So our pipeline, that is our data flow, this thing will be now running. See, its activity is in progress. So it's all our it shows in progress. Same we can monitor using here monitor, and since it's a debug, we have run, so it shows our pipeline. It's running and it shows in progress state. So let's go back to where we are. Let's wait till our pipeline gets succeeded. All right, our pipeline got succeeded. So technically there should be one output file. Let's refresh it. Yeah, we got one output file and it's in .csv format, right? So before checking the output, let's click on the data flow details, this goggle icon. So in the data flow icon, if you look this details, this was our the entire flow. We have selected filters, right? This all things. Remember, in the theory part, I've mentioned you regarding the lineage from sources to shrink. Fourth one, displays the transformation. Let's now check it. We have the lineage here. See, from source to sink, entire thing will be your shown, like the mapping part, right? Everything is shown, will be shown, and we have the stages here. See, the from we have applied filter, select, those kind of things, stages, right? The time it took. So we have got everything covered. We have all the details, right? So our currently let's go back to the like pipeline or let's go back to our author section. Since our flow is end-to-end completed, now let's try to view the output, what we need or what we have demanded. Remember, we have deleted two of the, so it was a CSV file, right? That's why comma preview. We have deleted country and industry. Let's verify whether it's there or not. See, we don't have country and the industry column, so it's perfect. Second, we have filtered based on year 2000 the companies which were founded. So we got the company's name which were founded after 2000, so that criteria is also filled. Also, third condition, if you note the short part, we have sorted in the descending order. If you note here, all the descending order, it's there, so we are good. But one thing, if you note the website part, it looks malformed, but it is not. Let me prove you how. Let me download it to my first local computer. Alright, I have downloaded a file to my local computer. Let's open this. As soon as I open this, now let me make it bigger. The website, it's not malformed. It's absolutely correct. So our data is not malformed. In fact, it's 100% correct. So we got end-to-end flow for our activity, mapping data flows activity. Let's brush you up as a conclusion. So we have created storage account, landing and staging. That was our landing for input, the .csv file, and staging for the cleansed data, what we have put, and got one output file. We have used Data Factory data flow to do the transformation. We have put all the sort, filters, select, those kind of things, and entire pipeline we have created using Data Factory and run it to get the required output. Regarding the theory part, if you remember the first point, visually designed transformation, let me now back my theory points. So this is a visual representation, right? We have not written a single line of code. If you look, have without writing code. That brings us to second point, and Apache Spark clusters are running behind the scenes. So all the 4 points I have already completed. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you missed question number 1 to 30, please check previous parts of series by navigating to playlist section, then navigating to DP-203 ultimate course. So let's tackle this question. We have just tested our concepts on data flow, right? So let's first look at option A. A says join. Join transformations combines data from different sources based on common columns, but doesn't address absurd logic as required by the question. Hence, incorrect choice. Let's move to option C. C says surrogate key. Surrogate keys uniquely identifies records but don't handle absurd requirement once again. So C is out. Let's move to option D. D says select. The select transformation, you might have remember in the hands-on that it is used for column selection, like which columns we want and which columns we don't want. Like we can delete the columns for the final output, and hence select doesn't handle again absurd operation. So D is again out. We are left out with option B. If you look at the official documentation, it's mentioned use the alter row transformation to set insert, delete, update and absurd policies on rows. Hence, we'll lock option B as the correct answer. Alright. Let's tackle some question related to Azure Synapse Analytics. We have done the hands-on for it. We'll look at option A first. A says advanced data security for database. This feature focuses on security assessments and vulnerability detection, but it doesn't address data encryption at rest as required by the question. Hence, incorrect choice. Let's move to option C. C says secure transfer required. Secure transfer required is related to data in transit and not data at rest. So wrong answer. Let's move to option D. Dynamic data masking. Dynamic data masking helps in obfuscating sensitive data in query results. Again, it doesn't handle data encryption at rest. Let's reject this. If we look at the official documentation, it's mentioned Azure SQL Database currently supports encryption at rest for Microsoft Managed Service side and client-side encryption scenarios. Support for server encryption is currently provided through the SQL feature called Transparent Data Encryption. This is also known as TDE, right? This is the short form for it. We'll lock TDE as the correct answer. Let's bring the heat to the snow. We will tackle another question related to Azure Synapse Analytics, a very important topic as a data engineer. Let's look at option E. E says database role. Database roles has nothing to do with creating external data sources. Hence, incorrect choice. We'll look at option B. B says database scoped credential. A database scoped credential allows secure access to the storage account by providing the necessary account key. Let's park this option aside. Let's move to option C. C says database views. Database views are used for querying data, but they cannot handle external data source connections. Again, incorrect choice. Let's move to option D. D says external file format. External file format cannot address authentication issues as required by the question. Hence, incorrect choice. Let's look at the official documentation. It's mentioned your first step is to create database where the tables will be created. Before creating a database scoped credential, database must have a master key to protect the credential. That's what is required. We'll lock option B as the correct answer. If you want to unlock member only videos, then gold membership or above is recommended. If you want to get the PDF version including the hands-on files and practice test, then please upgrade to diamond membership or above. Then inbox and connect me on LinkedIn at the rate of Cloud Guru Amit or Instagram at the rate of Amit Physique so that I can help you out with the hands-on file and the PDF access.